What if your body gave you one last warning before disaster struck? Not a loud alarm, not a sharp pain, just a whisper, a moment of dizziness, a blink of confusion, a strange silence where words should be. Every year, nearly 250,000 Americans experience a mini stroke, and almost half of them don't even know it happened because it comes quickly and leaves just as quietly. But what if I told you that recognizing just one of these 8 signs could save your life or the life of someone you love? Hi there, and welcome back to Senior Fit, the channel where we believe aging should come with strength, not fear. We're here to give you knowledge, confidence, and the power to protect your health after 60. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and tap the bell, because what you're about to learn could make all the difference. Today, we'll uncover the 8 subtle but deadly signs of a mini stroke, also known as a transient ischemic attack, and finish with 3 brain-saving superfoods that are proven to help prevent full strokes. Stay with us, because sign number 1 is the most easily dismissed and the most dangerous. Let's start with what a mini stroke really is. A transient ischemic attack, TIA, is a temporary blockage of blood flow to the brain. It's like a stroke, but it clears on its own, often within minutes or hours. No lasting damage, right? Wrong. TIAs are more than just mini strokes. They are massive red flags. Medical experts call them warning strokes because they're often the brain's first and final plea for help before a full-blown stroke occurs. And here's the most terrifying fact. In 5 people who have a TIA will suffer a major stroke within 90 days. And most of those will happen within just 48 hours. That's not a scare tactic. That's a scientific fact. So why don't more people recognize the signs? Because TIAs are sneaky. They don't always look or feel dramatic. Sometimes they just feel like getting old. But aging isn't supposed to feel like confusion, vision loss, or sudden weakness. Let's walk through the 8 signs you must never ignore. Starting with one of the most underestimated. Sign number 1. Sudden dizziness or loss of balance. It begins with a step. You rise from your chair, and suddenly the room feels like it's spinning. Your legs wobble. You reach for a wall. You sit down, unsure what just happened. Maybe you think it's your blood pressure. Maybe you blame your medication. Maybe you just haven't eaten. But here's the truth. Sudden dizziness or balance problems, especially when they appear out of nowhere, can be a sign that your brain is losing oxygen. In a TA, the cerebellum, the part of your brain responsible for coordination and balance, can be momentarily starved of blood. Even if it passes quickly, it's a loud and clear warning. If your body suddenly feels unsteady, especially if you grab furniture for balance or feel like you're swaying on a boat, that's not something to sleep off. That's something to call about. Sign number 2. Sudden changes in vision. You're reading a label, then a blur, or maybe part of your visual field goes dark, like someone pulled a shade over one eye. You blink, you squint, then it's back. But what just happened? Many older adults blame vision changes on fatigue, aging, or needing new glasses. But TIAs often affect the optic nerve or the visual cortex, disrupting how your brain interprets what your eyes see. The result? Double vision, blurry or partial vision, temporary blindness in one eye. A unique symptom of TIAs is something called amaurosis fugax, a brief episode where vision in one eye fades completely. It's painless, it's brief, and it's incredibly dangerous. If your vision vanishes, even just for a minute, It's not your eyes. It's your brain begging for help. The man who blamed his glasses, Edward, age 72, was at the grocery store when one side of his vision went black. He rubbed his eyes, thinking he needed to update his prescription. By the time he got home, his sight had returned. He didn't tell anyone. 3 days later, Edward had a massive stroke on the left side of his brain. Doctors said his vision loss was his only warning. One quick trip to the ER that day could have changed everything. Sign number 3. Sudden confusion or trouble understanding. Have you ever sat through a conversation and suddenly felt lost? Like your brain just turned off? You know the person talking. You know the words, but nothing makes sense. Or worse, you suddenly can't understand written or spoken language that was crystal clear just moments ago. This isn't dementia. It's not brain fog. It's your brain temporarily losing access to comprehension centers, typically in the left hemisphere. This sign is especially alarming because it feels like you're still there, but disconnected. You may even recognize you're confused, but can't express it. Family members often say, "He just looked at me and seemed gone." She wasn't herself, but within an hour or two, the person might return to normal. And that's what makes this so dangerous. Because if it passes, most people never seek help. If your thoughts stop making sense, if you can't follow what's said, or if you blank out for minutes at a time, don't assume you're just tired. That's your brain waving a red flag. Sign number 4. Sudden, severe headache. The thunderclap warning. You're going about your day when suddenly, bang! A sharp, blinding pain explodes in your head. It's not a dull ache. It's not a slow build. It feels like a lightning bolt struck the inside of your skull. You've never felt anything like it. Your vision might blur. You might feel nauseous. You might have to sit or lie down immediately. Many call it the worst headache of my life. This is what doctors call a thunderclap headache. And in older adults, it's a major red flag for a mini stroke or even a brain bleed. So why do so many people ignore it? Because it goes away. They take a painkiller. They lie down. It passes. But just like the warning tremors before an earthquake, the storm is not over. It's just beginning. If your headache comes on fast, feels wrong, and won't respond to your usual medication, don't assume it's stress or dehydration. Assume it's a warning and act accordingly. Margaret's morning headache. Margaret was 68. She enjoyed walking early in the morning. One day, as she stepped outside, a sudden pain shot through the left side of her head. She clutched her forehead and sat down on the porch. It passed in 10 minutes. Her husband offered to drive her to urgent care. She refused. The next day, she suffered a major stroke that left her unable to speak. The doctors later told her family that headache was her warning shot. Sign number 5. Sudden numbness or weakness, especially on one side. You reach for your coffee cup, but your fingers feel strange, tingly. You try to grip it and drop it instead. You notice your leg dragging slightly, or your face feels heavy, especially on one side. This is one of the most well-known signs of stroke, and it's often one of the first symptoms of a mini stroke too. TIAs can cause temporary paralysis, tingling, or numbness on one side of the body, often in the face, arm, or leg. Many older adults dismiss it as, "I must have slept wrong. Maybe my arthritis is acting up. I just need to stretch it out." But stroke-related numbness comes suddenly, and it's often accompanied by a strange, hollow sensation, like your limb doesn't belong to you. If one side of your body suddenly feels different, even if it goes back to normal, that's your brain sending an emergency message. Don't ignore it. Self-test, the fast check. If you suspect a stroke or mini stroke, use this quick self-test. F. Face. Ask the person to smile. Does one side droop? Chin, arms. Ask them to raise both arms. Does one drift down? S. Speech. Ask them to repeat a simple sentence. Is it slurred or strange? T. Time. If any of these are off, call emergency services immediately. Mini-stroke symptoms often go away, but their meaning does not. Sign number 6. Sudden extreme fatigue, the quiet collapse. This isn't just tiredness. It's not what you feel after a long day or a bad night's sleep. This is different. You wake up and your body feels like it's made of lead. Your limbs feel heavy. Your mind is foggy. You sit in your chair and can't bring yourself to move. Even holding a book feels like too much. This kind of fatigue comes on suddenly and doesn't improve with rest. It's not laziness. It's not mood. It's a potential sign that your brain is experiencing stress or reduced blood flow, particularly to areas responsible for energy regulation and movement. Research shows that in up to 40% of cases, stroke victims reported days of extreme fatigue before the major event. If your body suddenly hits a wall and you can't explain why, don't wait to feel better. Get checked now, because this could be your only chance. Harold's collapse. Harold, 75, had been feeling off for a few days. He said he was just tired. His wife offered to cancel their Sunday lunch. He said, "I just need rest." But by Monday morning, Harold couldn't get out of bed. He was rushed to the hospital and diagnosed with a major stroke. When doctors reviewed his symptoms, they noted that the unexplained fatigue was likely a mini stroke, or several, leading up to the main event. Transition, the final two, signs you might be missing. So far, we've uncovered 6 powerful warning signs: dizziness or balance loss, vision problems, confusion, severe headache, one-sided numbness or weakness, unexplained fatigue. But the last 2 signs, they're even more deceptive and tragically easy to brush off. Sign number 7. Sudden speech difficulties. When your voice doesn't sound like you. You're trying to speak, but the words won't come. Or maybe they do, but they sound jumbled, slurred, or confusing. You know what you want to say. It's right there in your mind, but your mouth won't follow. Or worse, you speak and the sentence comes out sounding like nonsense to everyone else. This is one of the most urgent and recognizable signs of a stroke or mini stroke. And it's also one of the most misunderstood. Many older adults experiencing this symptom assume they're just having a moment. But the truth is, this kind of sudden speech difficulty, whether slurring, mixing up words, or total inability to speak, is often caused by a temporary disruption in the brain's language centers, especially in the left hemisphere. Doctors refer to this as dysarthria, slurred or poorly articulated speech. Aphasia, difficulty understanding or forming words. It may only last a few minutes, but the implications can last a lifetime. If your speech suddenly sounds off, and you haven't been drinking, didn't hit your head, and feel fine otherwise, treat it like the emergency it is. Alice and the phone call. Alice, 73, was on the phone with her sister when her words suddenly stopped making sense. Her sister thought it was a poor connection, but Alice was still speaking. Her voice just didn't sound like her anymore. It was slow, garbled, and scattered. 10 minutes later, Alice was back to normal. She insisted she was fine. 2 days later, she collapsed during dinner. The mini stroke had been her only warning. If her sister hadn't pushed her to call the doctor, she might not have made it back. If you or someone nearby shows signs of trouble speaking, can they say a full sentence clearly? Do the words make sense? Do they know what they're trying to say? Can they repeat something simple like, "The sky is blue in Cincinnati"? If the answer to any of these is no, Call emergency help immediately. Even if it clears up within the hour, that temporary disruption could signal a bigger event coming soon. Sign number 8, sudden memory loss or disorientation, when the mind goes blank. This one is easy to overlook, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. Imagine standing in your own home and suddenly not knowing why you're there, or asking someone a question and then asking the same question again 5 minutes later, not realizing you already did. These episodes are often short. Sometimes the person appears completely fine afterward, but has no memory of what just happened. This is called transient memory loss, and it's one of the most frequently missed signs of a mini stroke. It's not confusion from medication. It's not a slip of the mind. It's your brain failing to record short-term memory, often due to a brief blockage of blood flow to the hippocampus, the memory center of your brain. If someone suddenly forgets where they are, repeats themselves multiple times, or becomes disoriented, don't chalk it up to aging. It could be a stroke's first knock on the door. Frank, 69, was out walking his dog when he sat down on a bench and called his daughter. "Where are you?" she asked. Frank paused. I'm not sure," he said. 10 minutes later, he was fine again. He even laughed about it. But when his daughter reviewed the call recording later, she could hear the fear in his voice, the confusion. She convinced him to go in for testing. They discovered he had experienced a mini stroke affecting his temporal lobe, the part of the brain that helps you recognize locations and create memories. That moment of disorientation had been his only clue. Memory loss versus dementia. Know the difference. Many people confuse this with early dementia, but there are clear differences. Dementia happens gradually, over weeks or months. Mini stroke, memory loss happens suddenly, and may disappear within hours. Dementia rarely causes total gaps in memory or repeated disorientation in the span of minutes. Mini stroke memory loss often leaves people with no recollection of what happened, a blank spot in time. And the most terrifying part? This may be the only warning you get before a much larger stroke strikes. Let's quickly recap the 8 critical signs we've covered. Sudden dizziness or balance problems, sudden changes in vision, sudden confusion or inability to understand, sudden severe headache, sudden numbness or weakness on one side, sudden extreme fatigue, sudden trouble speaking, sudden memory loss or disorientation. If any of these happen, especially if they come on suddenly without explanation, you must act fast. Here's the biggest danger of mini strokes. They disappear, and because the symptoms vanish, most people never get help. But inside the brain, damage has already begun, and what's coming next might be permanent. If something feels off, trust that instinct. If you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most. You now understand what most people don't. Mini strokes, though silent and short-lived, are not small things. They're cries for help, and the only reason they don't seem deadly is because the damage isn't visible yet. But inside, your brain is warning you, urgently, clearly, and sometimes only once. The real tragedy isn't the stroke. It's the silence that comes before it. And now, you're no longer silent. Linda was 76, full of life. She loved gardening, crossword puzzles, and baking for her grandkids. One morning, she walked into the kitchen and stopped. She looked around. For a full minute, she couldn't remember why she was there. Then it came back. She shrugged, laughed it off, and got back to her day. A week later, she had a major stroke while pruning her roses. Her recovery was long. She never fully regained her ability to speak clearly. She told her daughter later, "I wish I had listened to that moment." That moment was the whisper before the scream. Let that moment be the reason you take action today. Now, Let's talk prevention. 3. Superfoods that protect your brain. You've learned how to recognize a mini stroke, but how do you reduce your risk in the first place? Lifestyle matters. So does what's on your plate. Here are 3 science-backed foods that can significantly reduce your stroke risk and boost your brain health as you age. Superfood 1. Berries, especially blueberries. These tiny fruits pack a powerful punch. Berries are rich in antioxidants and anthocyanins, which reduce inflammation, improve blood vessel function, help keep your arteries flexible. A study from Harvard found that eating blueberries or strawberries once per week lowered the risk of stroke in women by 34%. They're easy to add to your life. Sprinkle on oatmeal, blend into a smoothie. Eat as a snack between meals. A handful a day can go a long way toward protecting your brain. Superfood number 2. Leafy greens. Spinach, kale, arugula. Dark leafy greens are loaded with folate, vitamin K, lutein, and antioxidants. They help lower blood pressure, reduce artery stiffness, support overall brain function. According to research published in Neurology, people who ate leafy greens daily had slower rates of cognitive decline and a lower risk of stroke. Simple ways to add them. Toss into omelets or soups. Blend into green smoothies. Add to wraps or sandwiches. Think of them as natural armor for your brain. Superfood number 3. Fatty fish. Salmon, sardines, mackerel. Omega-3s are your brain's best friend. They reduce triglycerides, lower inflammation in the brain, improve blood flow, prevent blood clots. One large study published in the British Medical Journal showed that consuming fatty fish twice a week reduced stroke risk by up to 27%. Don't like fish? Ask your doctor about omega-3 supplements. But if you can, go natural. Grilled salmon, sardines on toast, mackerel in salad. Your brain thrives on healthy fats, and these fish deliver them best. Now that you know the signs, and now that you know what foods can help prevent a stroke, let's make a quick action plan. 1. Recognize the signs. If you experience any of the 8 warning signs we covered, call emergency services, even if symptoms go away. Write down the time of symptom onset. Don't wait. Don't hope. Act. 2. Start with one habit today. Add 1 serving of leafy greens to your meal. Grab a handful of blueberries for your snack. Swap red meat for salmon this week. Small changes, over time, change everything. You are not powerless. You are not broken. And age is not the enemy. Ignorance is. The body speaks softly before it screams. Your job is to listen. Because that one moment of confusion, that heavy leg, that lost word, might be your second chance. Let this video be a reminder. You are worth protecting. You are worth the phone call. And you are worth the effort. If you found this video helpful, inspiring, or life-changing, like this video, share it with someone you care about. Subscribe to Senior Fit, where we make aging strong, smart, and safe. In the comments, tell us, have you ever experienced strange symptoms like these? What did you do about it? What small change will you make today to protect your brain? Your story might be the one that saves someone else. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. And thank you for choosing life.